What's up everyone, welcome to a new video here on my channel again. This time we got another lap guide coming up here on the P1 dock around Daytona International Speedway. So yeah, let's get right into it. So here we are then for a lap guide around Daytona International Speedway on the P1 dock. I think I did a 32.5, yeah, right there for this lap. I'm also gonna play the replay for you guys at the end of the session with inputs on the screen if you wanna go through it yourselves. But first of all, he's gonna play it right here, coming off the start-finish straight and into turn one. Where you wanna place your eyes right now is on this yellow board right here. It's gonna be your braking reference for turn one. You can smack the brake pretty hard here. You don't see that a lot anymore in GTPs on these new tires, but there's enough downforce at this speed, so that's pretty nice. You can be very aggressive on the initial braking. Make sure you stay pretty straight for the first part of braking, first 20 meters here. That's going to be the best way to slow down in the initial braking. When you start turning in, that's when you're going to start trading off the brake. Go really wide on the entry here. Make sure you don't go past those cones, but go really wide on the entry here. Trailing all the way in, trying to minimize as much rolling as we can, and immediately getting on the throttle. Now it might look a bit weird getting on the throttle this early, but you're gonna have to be very smooth with it and have a lot of throttle control. It's gonna be the key to going quick basically everywhere on this track because there's just low speed corners. So getting on it this early to make sure you carry all the speed you can and really being patient with the rear end, alright? You're not gonna be full throttle until right here and trying to use or let the car go wide so you don't have any moments with the rear end. You don't want to overheat the tires already because the next part of the lap will be destroyed. You see I'm really on the edge with the rear end there. Coming into turn 2. Now this one is a bit more difficult than turn 1 in my opinion. You don't have any braking reference right here. That's the first part, and the second part is it's very easy to lock up here. You need to really ramp up the brake here. Be very careful. You don't want to overheat the fronts in this corner. It's very easy to do. So try and brake a little bit before that 100 board right there. Ramp up the brake to 80%. Trail brake all the way in. And then we're going to take a really, really late apex here. You can see we're getting on the throttle really early again, but we're not going to be full throttle until around here. So you see where you apply the throttle to where you're full throttle is a very big distance between that, and that's how you drive those new tires because there's basically no slip curve. It's very easy to overheat the tire, but you still need to carry the speed in the mid corner. So the key I found on this track was to really apply the brake or apply the throttle a lot earlier than you think. It can be like 10 or 20%, but it's going to gain you a lot of time. And then rotate the car without stepping over the limit. And the line is a bit more different also compared to the last tire model. You were a lot wider coming out of the corner, but now you want to prioritize having the car straight as early as you can, because that means you can get on 100% throttle earlier. So a very late apex, early on the throttle again, and then trying to have a straight car on the exit. Coming into turn 4 right now, turn 5 I think it is. We're gonna have this end of the white line here as a braking point. Ramping up the brake again. You can be a bit more aggressive on it right here because you have more speed coming in. Trailing all the way in, and then once again, same thing as the other corner. You want to get super early on the throttle, but that doesn't mean smacking it. That means getting early on it, but a little percentage, all right? Throttle control all the way around. You want to be on the first apex right here, open a bit, and then close at the end right there, all the way into the line again. That's the best line you can take. And then as soon as the car is straight, boom, we're 100% throttle again, letting the car go out up slightly on that curb. And now coming into a very crucial corner. Once again, we're going to have like a braking point at the end of the white line here. So very easy to lock up here. Once again, ramp up the brake. And the there's a weird technique in this corner for me personally. You want to try and over push it a bit on the entry, which will induce understeer. But because those tires overheat so easily nowadays, you can use that understeer that you get and use it for traction on the exit. Your balance will be a lot greater, which means you can get on throttle a lot earlier. So if we look this through the cockpit, over pushing it a little bit on entry, you can see like I'm slightly turning too much to try and induce understeer, because that understeer will turn into traction on the exit. And it's a weird technique, only works in iRacing right now. And then you can see how early I can be full throttle. So that already here. That's the technique I use for that corner to try and really maximize that exit. I think you can go even a little bit wider than I did here and use or induce even a bit more understeer. I think my optimal was like a half tenth or a tenth quicker on this lap through this corner. But yeah, that's my secret for that corner. So we're coming out on the first oval here. Keeping it on the oval, not running the apron. Rule number 1. Coming into the bus stop then, you want to try and look for another yellow board here like we did in turn 1, right here. Once again, you can be quite aggressive like you can in turn 1, because you're obviously having a lot more speed, more downforce. It's very important that you slow down on the entry here. The exit of bus stop is what makes or breaks your lap in quali especially. You don't want to off track or slow down. Make sure you control the car on entry, slow it down as much as you can. When you pass this grass patch, is what I use from the cockpit, you turn right immediately. And then you apply the throttle exactly when you get to this curb. And you try, this is like the only corner on the track where you try and smack the throttle a bit. You have so much downforce coming in here. So you can see I'm really quickly coming to the throttle, or full percentage of it. Keeping it really tight here, even touching the grass to the right to try and avoid that slowdown or the 1x on the exit. And going using all of that track. And then yeah, that's the bus stop. The technique is a bit different, obviously, in the bus stop compared to the rest of the lap. But yeah, that's what I have to say for my lap guide around Daytona International Speedway. I think in quali coming down here to try and gain the last 100 or 200, and boom. That's my lap guide around Daytona. Hope you enjoyed, and here comes the onboard cockpit of the lap as well. So see you guys in the next video.